Hey everyone, it's Matt here, and today we are doing our yearly Did I Get What I Ordered holiday special. And if you remember last year's special, then you remember that I talked to some family members of mine, and they actually wanted to get me some gifts so that we could actually put it on the tree and have a nice family gathering. And so we did just that, and those gifts ended up being on this very channel, because of course they were gaming related. Now, this year, those same family members did not give me any games, and I think that might have been a sign. There might be a reason why they didn't do that. So what I did was I bought myself some games. So I thought that it would be really cool to check them out, especially because of course it is the holiday season. So let's actually get to some of those pickups right now. So funny enough, even though this is the holiday edition, none of these games are going to be gift wrapped. They're all out of their original packaging, and this is actually the Klonoa collection, which is something that is very hard to say. Try to say that 5 times. And this is the PAL edition of the game. Why PAL? Well, because of the fact that even though, yes, it is available in the US, it is sadly only available on digital platforms, eShop, PlayStation Store, stuff like that. So when it comes to these two games, I love these games as a kid, at least the first one. The second one I only played a little bit of. I really enjoyed them, and I knew I wanted to get them, but I wanted to get them portably, and so that's why I chose the Switch version. And when it comes to the price, when you look at it on the eShop, it's actually $40. So I was like, you know what, if I'm going to be paying, my rule usually is if it's more than 25 bucks, then I'll get to that in a second. What in the hell is that there? So it looks like it's a visual representation of the PEGI rating system telling you, hey, listen, in this game, Klonoa's gonna hit you with a human fist, there's gonna be some scary spiders, and you will be using your credit card. Thanks, PEGI. But either way, my rule was, like I mentioned before, if I'm going to be paying more than $25 for a game digitally, might as well just pick it up physical if it's possible. Now, if there's in-game purchases, I'm a little bit nervous because I'm kind of wondering, is there going to be DLC and I don't know if I can access it, or any kind of just downloadable content, even if it's not specifically paid DLC. But what matters is that I can't use this code. But you know what? Hey, let's actually test this game out and see if it works. So you might not be able to see it here because I'm doing it off camera, but I am putting the game into the slot. I am pressing it down, and look at that, it does load. So like I was telling you, even though this is a game from the UK, I can still play it on my US Switch. I'm not gonna download an update because I'm cool. Okay, wow, this loaded very quick, and good God, this user agreement, Jesus H. There is a lot of things that I should be reading that I am not. And thankfully you can kind of just choose whichever one you want to, no like unlocking or anything like that, just choose which game you like. Now it looked weird to me because there were no like options or anything, but all of those options are actually in the games themselves, so you can just kind of control each game separately. So while I'm not going to show too much gameplay footage, I gotta say with what I've played so far, I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, I played Klonoa 1 when I was really young, and I didn't know too much about it, too much about the world, but I just knew that I loved the character, I loved the world around him, and looking at this game, it very much looks like a fantastic recreation of that world, but in a, in a remastered way, of course, but doing it in a way that doesn't seem like it's hard to pick up for anyone who played the originals. I feel like as much as I enjoyed some parts of the Insane trilogy, the Crash Insane trilogy, it felt significantly harder than the first, at least when I played the second game and the third game. Those are the ones that I'm more familiar with. But with a game like this, it just truly feels like, at least so far, that I'm just playing Klonoa again, which is really freaking cool, and I definitely can't wait to play more of this in my spare time. So the next game we're taking a look at is one that I'm actually really excited for. It's called The Outbound Ghost. It's not just released for the Switch, by the way, it's also released on Steam, and I believe also not just the PS4, but also the Xbox One as well. And I don't know about the PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles, but what I can tell you is that it actually is a kind of, looks like a Paper Mario inspired, at least via the looks, RPG. You can see here that you're actually working with ghosts, and it's very interesting. Not a lot on the back here though, but to be be fair, it's actually from a much smaller indie developer. I believe it had a Kickstarter, and that's where I found it out from. And if it didn't, and I'm misremembering that because there's another Kickstarter that I'm thinking of as well, then I definitely found it on Steam, and I thought, man, I really want to pick it up. But it was about maybe $15-20. I thought, should I pick this up digitally? And then all of a sudden, when I found out that it had a physical release and that it was coming out in the near future at the time, I thought, okay, I'm definitely going to pick it up when I can. And because it was only $35, I thought, you know what, quick and easy game to get for the Switch would be really cool to get. And of course, here we are. So opening this thing up, this is really cool. So no manual, of course, but it still looks really cute. I can't wait to test this out. Of course, we have the cartridge down there. So let's actually see if it works. So I am putting the game in the console. You cannot see it, but I am. And here we are, the Outbound Ghost. So let's do it. So I'm a little disappointed here because works is subjective. So even though I did not download an update, you can see on the upper right hand side, it still shows that it's not the 1.0 version. And here's the thing. When I was looking at the opening cutscene, I thought that some of this frame rate issue stuff that can be a little bit hard to tell. I was a bit worried that it was my capture device, as it's a much cheaper, like $15 USB capture device, just straight HDMI to USB. So looking at this footage, I was like, there seems to be some issues with the resolution, and I was thinking, is that because of the aesthetic that they're going for? But then once I got into the gameplay, I was like, no, this is pretty freaking bad. And look, I have no problem if this was a significantly cheaper game or it didn't have a physical edition. But when you have a physical edition, you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a relatively well-polished game. And it wasn't like that, but I thought, you know what? I didn't get the update. Let me try and update it, and clearly everything's going to be alright. Well, the opening cutscene was better, and this opening section here is actually definitely a bit better, but when trying to enter fights, this is how long it takes to load in real time. So, this is not good. And this is really disappointing to me because I do enjoy the battle mechanics, I do enjoy talking to different characters throughout the village. There's a lot of life here, but there's just really weird issues that make you go, hold on, yes, this is a much smaller team, I'm sure. This isn't a published Nintendo game, this isn't, Game Freak, this isn't the Pokemon Company, but still, you're kind of seeing things pop in and out in the background, and I'm like, what is happening here? So I actually did a bit of research, and now I want to do a whole entire review on this game over at our Game Time channel because of the fact that I found out that the lead dev and the publisher are actually seemingly threatening legal action against each other because of the fact that this allegedly was not meant to be the final build that was supposed to release on the cartridge, and apparently it runs much better on Steam. But you would think that the updates would fix it, and it's been a few months now, and there haven't really been updates. So, at least, major updates that fixed most of these issues. But I've heard better things on Steam. There's just a lot going on with this story that's way too much to cover in this supposed to be a very nice happy holiday video. So I will just say that this is a disappointment that may not be a disappointment in the future. It might run better on other platforms. Definitely don't pick this up on the Switch right now. If you see it physical for like $5-10, I would suggest doing it just in case maybe it gets patched one day. But when you look at this at a $35 price point, sure, I'm happy it's not, $60, but still, I don't know if so far this is worth that $35. Hopefully things get resolved sooner rather than later, but because there are lawyers involved and potentially lawsuits involved, those can take a long time, so don't hold your breath. And the next game we're talking about is Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, the HD Remaster. And this is a game that I've talked about somewhat, technically, sort of, as a fan translation on this very channel, because it was a fan translation for the special, like, more extra edition, I believe it was the Maniacs edition for the PlayStation 2, and some of that content, from what I've heard, is actually going to be in this remaster. And when I saw that it was, and I saw the price of this, by the way, I got this for $15. And yes, it did come out in 2021, which I find odd. I thought this would have come out in 2022, but no, May of 2021. Still though, $15, brand new, partial nudity. I don't know why I read that out loud. Point is that $15 is cheap enough to take the leap/risk. And yes, I do say leap/risk. Oh God, hate how that looks, but no like artwork or anything, but I say that it's a risk/leap because of the fact that I've actually never played Shin Megami Tensei 3. Even back in the day I heard about it, I was like, oh, this looks interesting, and then never had the chance to check it out, so I am super excited to be able to. So let's actually see if it works. I'm recording the footage directly through the PS4, by the way, so you can't see the whole I am putting the disc in segment, but I did do that, just in case you're a little bit concerned. I did do it. Oh, hello, hello, hello. This does not look bad. I mean, yes, you can see that some of it, definitely there's some jaggies going on, but generally though, I'm very much enjoying this, especially when we move past the opening cutscene and we look at some actual gameplay. It really seems like Atlus isn't taking the term remaster lightly here, because this looks amazing. Oh no, this really is the end of the world. Someone is talking to me. I don't like any of this. Making conversation. Not interested. Oh no. Well, at least I'm getting some world building. Those people during that riot, they were probably killed by demons. So let's move on to something more chill. A game about murders. So this is Lost Judgment. If you're not familiar with the Judgment series, it's actually a spin-off of the Yakuza series, also developed by Ryoga Gotoku Studios, and it is also, just like Yakuza Like a Dragon, the most recent Yakuza game, it is English dubbed. I don't know if the first Judgment game was English dubbed, but I can tell you that this one is. Also, a PS5 upgrade is available, and I don't know if it's free or not. I'm hoping it is, but if it's not, you can still play the game on your PS5. So looking at these screenshots, you can definitely see that it is a Yakuza game. 42 gigabyte minimum. Loving it. So opening this thing up, you can see that there's the Ryoga Gotoku Studio logo, kind of just insert there, that has been in countless games that they've released, more recent Yakuza ones. You can see this fantastic background here that is just completely... By the way, speaking of fantastic backgrounds, for this disc, I gotta say, even though it's very minimalist, it really pops in an interesting way when you compare it to, you know, just other box art or other disc art. And on the back here, oh damn. So it's obscured. It definitely can't be a reversible cover because of the warranty thing on the bottom left hand side. But I do have to say though, it does look pretty cool. I would love that on like a poster or something like that. So let's actually see if this game works. So I couldn't show footage of me putting in the disc because of the fact that I'm recording all this footage directly through the PS4, and for some reason you can't record the homepage. Kinda weird. But looking, oh my god, this game looks gorgeous. And I know I'm sure I'm late to the party, but just, this game looks fantastic. You know, I play games on my PS4, but for the most part I'm usually playing retro stuff, so god, this looks amazing. By the way, if you're wondering just how much I got this for, I got this game brand new for $17.99. $18, and it came out May of 2021. $18. That's absurd. Now what's not cool are grisly murders, and this is seemingly a grisly murder. So I'm gonna cut away from this because no. So I'm not going to show too much footage for this game because of the fact that it's a sequel to the first Judgment game, a game that I still have not played, but I do have in my collection. So why would I get this game, even though, yeah, sure, it was 18 bucks, but what if I hate it? it was only 18 bucks. If I hate it completely, I'll just end up giving it to a friend, lending it to a friend, and I'm sure they would fall in love with it. But I'm pretty sure, based on the fact that this is made by, the same studio that made the Yakuza series, a series that I love, I'm sure I'm going to enjoy these two games. And I also just don't want to spoil anything as well. I don't know what is and isn't a spoiler here, so I would just rather not end up spoiling both you and me. But I will say, though, that just on looks alone, this game looks gorgeous, and I cannot wait to play it, see any of the differences between this and the original Yakuza series, at least, the remakes on the PS4 as well. And yeah, no, this looks fantastic. Oh shit, wait a minute, I have that leather jacket. That exact one. What the hell, that's freaking hilarious. And the final game we're taking a look at, number 5, which is very apt, a very demonic / ghostly holiday. Very sense of theme here. And this is Shin Megami Tensei 5 for the Nintendo Switch. This came out in October of 2021. Very strange, a lot of 2021 games here that I have in this pickups. But here's the interesting thing, at least for me, the fact that it was only $29.99. $30, brand new, Shin Megami Tensei 5. I cannot wait to check this out. We're going to see if it works, but before we do, I want to see, okay, basic reading ability is needed. I've seen that before. Want to see if there's anything weird on the back here, because we've been seeing some fun stuff. So opening this up, this looks glorious. Not so much a reversible cover, but this artwork is fantastic. That's also something I would love on a poster. And we can see here, Shin Megami Tensei 5. I do have a little bit of experience with the series with playing the 4th game, and I've played some of the spin-offs. This is going to be so much fun. We're going to test it out, but I want to get a closer look at it. Oh, that's beautiful. So let's do this. So I am putting the cartridge in the console. I have done this twice before. Here we are. Okay, so it does load. There is also an update for it that I will not be installing. So here's something interesting when it comes to this game. So when I was seeing how this game looked, there were two things that came to mind. The first being that maybe because I didn't update the game just doesn't look as good. Or the second thing being that because I'm using this, like I mentioned before, this cheap $15 capture device, that maybe I have to adjust some settings, because looking at it right here, it doesn't look god-awful to me, but it could look better. And when I adjusted those settings, and I'll shift over to that footage right now, it does look better to me, but not by much. And even on my television, I was looking at this and I'm like, look, I'm not really a 4K kind of guy. This was a much smaller TV as well. I don't really care about any of that kind of stuff. I just care about if the game is good. And I haven't gotten far enough into the game yet to actually do that whole playing the game thing. But when I do, if I end up liking the game, then I end up liking the game. I don't care about how this looks. But it is definitely a noticeable decrease in quality, not even comparing it to the PS4, not comparing it to the Xbox One, just for other Switch games. It just seems like this is very much a downgrade. So I do have a theory, and this is just a theory. So because of the fact that this is a Nintendo Switch exclusive, I'm wondering if, this wasn't a Atlus approaching Nintendo situation. Nintendo may be approaching Atlus and saying, hey, we know that you're creating this for our console. What if you made it exclusive for X amount of money? And of course, because of how popular the Switch is, Atlus understandably obliged. But the fact that this is a game that was more than likely made for the PS5 and the Xbox series of consoles in mind, you have a situation where these assets are definitely severely downgraded for the Switch instead of being created exclusively for the Switch. So sometime in the near future, not just with this sale, but also the fact that this is more than a year and a half old at this point, which is weird to think about, the fact that maybe this will eventually in the near future pop up on the PlayStation sets of consoles and the Xbox series of consoles, and that this version, wasn't the definitive version. There'll be some kind of moniker, Shin Megami Tensei 5, the devil version, or demonic version, or something like that, and then that will be the version that they were originally planning on making with some extras. And I'm not really in the camp of the Switch is showing its age because, again, it really depends on the game and the optimization. But in this case, from what I've seen so far, it just looks like the visuals are not ones that were intended exclusively for the Switch. But again, pure speculation. Alright, so let's jump back to me in front of the tree. So I'm super excited about what I picked up, and I hope I can play them as soon as possible. And by that I mean before 2025. So there's a lot on our plates. So thank you all so much for watching, and from the looks of it, this actually might be our last video of this year. And assuming that it is, I just want to say thank you all so much. If you're a fan who just started tuning in this year, this month, from the very beginning when we started in 2014, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, so much for being a part of this and our journey. We love you all. Take care. Hope you had a happy 2022. Hope you have an even happier 2023. For me, it was mixed. So I think I might end up having a happier 2023. If you like the video, as always, you know all the stuff. Like, subscribe. If you want to comment below, talk about some of your gaming pickups this month, and please do. Love you all. Take care, and I will see you in 2023. I'll see you.